Hello there, friends. It's Jackie Ballheis from Klompen Stampers. I have a fun project to share with you that is perfect for those of you that are brand new beginner card makers, stampers, or everybody else that just likes to make quick and easy cards. I am all about using pretty designer series paper and letting it be the focal point of the card and then just adding a greeting. If you want to, you can embellish it a little bit, but it's all about making it quick and easy. Now, do you buy designer series paper and then you're afraid to cut it up because you don't know how to cut it or what to do with it, and it's just too pretty? I know I do, and I know all of you do too. So let's be real here. We all have a stash of it. Well, I want to encourage you to haul out your designer series paper and let's make some cards. Now, the easy cutting template that I have for you today shows you how to take a piece that is 6 by 6 and cut it to make 2 cards out of it. Because I know sometimes we struggle with, we look at it and go, okay, I want to make a card, but how do I cut it? So I don't have very much waste. So that's what it's all about today, a 6 by 6 to make 2 cards. So you're essentially gonna make 2 cards at one time. Now, if you have 12 by 12 paper, well, you can use this too. Cut it first into 6 by 6 and then use the cutting diagram I have. Now, speaking of cutting diagrams, I have it for you over on the blog post that goes with this video. Every time I do a video, I have a corresponding blog post, and you can always find the link to it right down in the video description. It'll take you right over there. And when you get over to that blog post, I'll have a picture of this cutting diagram for you so that you can real easily just cut a 6 by 6 and make 2 cards. Easy peasy. That's what it's all about when you follow me, quick and easy cards. I look forward to sharing this cutting diagram and how to make 2 quick and easy cards with you. Alrighty, are you ready to make 2 cards with 1 6 by 6 piece of designer series paper? Remember, if you have 12 by 12, start by cutting it down. We need a 6 by 6 piece. Now, the paper I'm using here is called, let me forget here, Hello Irresistible. And this paper you'll find on the Stampin' Up! Website. It's not in one of the catalogs. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, it's still available. However, what's more important is what I'm going to share with you today is really an idea you can use with any paper. So don't get all hung up on this beautiful paper, even though this paper is gorgeous. Grab the paper you have and make these 2 cards. So let's take this sheet and we'll set these aside. Now, what I'm going to do is start by cutting a 2-inch strip. So our first cut is 2 inches, and then we're going to cut this down to 5.5. So I could cut off this end or that end. Since this paper is so pretty, we're going to cut off part of that. Okay, this is scrap. We're going to have very little scrap here. And then this piece, we're going to cut down to 3 3/4. So we're going to take just a little 1/4 inch off the right side. So it's 3 3/4. And then when we turn it, we want it to be 5. So the 2 pieces I have, these are the 2 pieces for my 2 different cards. So you can see here, our only scrap is this, this, and this. So we could use this even to decorate the inside of the card if you wanted to, but for now, we're gonna just call that scrap. So next, we're going to take an 8.5 by 11, and we're gonna cut this in half to make our 2 cards. So we'll go to 5.5. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different in this video. Usually I have pieces pre-cut, but this time I'm gonna do all the cutting just to show you how easy it really is to make these cards. So we're gonna set those 2 pieces aside, and then we'll grab a piece of basic black. Now, when I put my cards together, I want to layer something behind this. I always like to, pull out a color from the paper, or I'm kind of a fanatic with using black. I think black makes everything pop. So we're gonna take this and we're going to cut it what I like to refer to as an 1/8 inch bigger. So we knew this piece was 3 3/4, so we'll go out here to 3 3/4 right there, and then we're just gonna move it out 1/8. So just 2 little tick marks, and we'll cut that. And then it's 5, so we'll go to 5 and then move it over 2 tick marks. So we've added 1/8. That's how I do most of my measuring. I go from the size I want. I started with my smaller piece, and then the layer for underneath, I just go 2 little tick marks, 1/8 bigger. So you can see how that black just really pulls those colors out. Then we're gonna take this, and we know we had a piece that was 2, so add that 1/8, so 2 little tick marks. And then we'll turn it this way, and it was 5.5. So it's actually not gonna have a black border on the top and the bottom because it's the height of the card. And that is going to go on here. let's see. As long as we're cutting, let's cut the insides. I always like to put paper on the inside of my card. I just feel it kind of jazzes up that card a little bit, makes it look nice on the inside, especially when I'm using color for my cardstock. It'd be different if it was white on the inside. And a common measurement I like to use is just 1/4 inch smaller. Let's keep it simple. So we're gonna go 5 1/4, and we'll cut it down to 4. So the front of the card is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. We're going just 1/4 inch smaller, gives us a nice little white piece to write our message on the inside. So we'll set that aside. I think we're done cutting for right now. So we'll set this aside. Okay, so let's start putting our pieces together. I am using the Tombow liquid adhesive, my favorite adhesive. Now, some people have a love-hate relationship with this. You have to be careful that you don't put too much because you don't want it to goosh out. But I like it because I can kind of put this down and slide it around, get it right where I want it, press it down, and it dries nice and quickly. So there is that one. And then we'll do this one. So I did this little card idea and cutting diagram for a virtual team event. Oh gosh, it was several months ago. And we did this, and I had everybody just get the supplies out and we cut it right, or they cut it right along with me. So if you want to do that, go ahead and start and stop the video and you can make these right along with me as we're going. So, okay, let's set those aside because we're going to get our greeting pieces ready before we go any further. And I just grabbed 2 random kind of greeting sets here. Peaceful Moments, Go-To Greetings, because remember, this is the focal point. So all I want is to have a greeting now to add on to these. So we're going to take a piece of scrap here of basic white, and we'll add our greeting in black. Let's see. So the Thinking of You stamp, this was from the Go-To Greetings, I believe. And what I like to do is, first off, make sure that I have my stamp straight on my block. And I test that by stamping on my scrap paper. I'm lining up the edge of the block with a line on here, and I can look at it and I'm going, ooh, that is kind of crooked, isn't it? Let's test that again. I thought I had that on here straight. You can see how we're going downward. So we're gonna actually pick this up and just adjust it a little bit. And you'll see why I want it straight here in just a second. Okay, that looks much better because then I'm gonna take my scrap paper and I'm gonna actually put that block right along the bottom. Okay, so it's straight there. And I know I'm gonna have a little bit of waste here, but it's just kind of the way my brain works, I guess. And then I am going to put this in my trimmer, and I want to trim the top and the bottom off to make this kind of a long strip. Now, I tend to always stamp and then trim down. I just feel it's easier than trying to figure out what size to cut this and then stamping it straight in the middle. So that's how I tend to do it. Now, because I want to line this or back this with a piece of black, after I've cut it, now I'm gonna measure it. So I'm gonna stick it on here and I'm gonna say, we are just shy of 3/4. So then I'm gonna take a scrap of black. I'm gonna take a scrap of black here, make sure, oh, we better go this way. And I was just short of 3/4. So let's just trim this off here because I'm gonna actually work backwards. So this measures 3 1/4. If I come out here to 2 1/2, that would be about the size it is. So we're gonna make it just a smidgen bigger. See, I'm really scientific with my measurements. And so I made it just a little bit bigger. So this should have a nice little border. Haha, that worked. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to just adhere this to the black. Now notice that on this one, I did not trim down. Well, that's kind of hard to see, isn't it? I didn't trim down the left and the right edge because we're gonna do that here in just a moment. So there's one of them. Okay, then let's go back to our scrap here. And on this one, I have congratulations. Okay, this is out of that Peaceful Moments. Now remember, what I'm trying to show you how to do here is use any greetings with any designer series paper to make a couple quick and easy cards. Okay, so we've cut that top and bottom, and then we'll measure it. And let's see, we are, gosh, we're just short of 3/4 of an inch again. So let's, if we went out here 3/4, a little bit bigger. Let's see. So, you know, you'll notice sometimes when you read my written instructions where I give measurements for greetings, I don't always give you exact measurements. And this is why, because I feel it's just easier to stamp and then cut. So once you learn to do it that way, I think it's much easier. Okay, so we're gonna stick that down there. Now this one, because we're gonna do this one a little bit different, we're going to trim this. After we've layered it, we're gonna stick it right back in here, and we'll cut it down close to the front and the back. So there's that one. Okay, we are almost done with our cards here. I feel like we just have a lot of parts and pieces, and all of a sudden it's going to come together here. So with this greeting, what I want is it to be on an angle. That's why I left this longer. We're going to put some adhesive in here in the middle, and then we're going to just put this, you know, we want to come down far enough, but I want to make sure that the word part, okay, because I'm going to trim this here, make sure that words are on the top and the bottom. So adhere that down really good, and then we'll bring in the trimmer one last time. And what I like to do is just flip it upside down. I'm putting the edge right on that cutting line and just trimming off this extra. So you can see how that's nice and even there. Go ahead and we'll do the other side. Okay, whew, that worked. Easy card, easy peasy. Use up that designer series paper. We'll fold our card in half, and then this is going to go right on there. Put our adhesive. You can see that better on the black. There's that one. And then we'll just open it up, and we're going to go ahead and put this on the inside. Just makes it look a little bit more like a finished card. Now I could stamp something that's coordinating if I wanted to. I could even, you know, if we wanted to. Actually, let's do that. Let's trim this down. We know that our piece is 5 1/4. So this is that little strip. Let's just trim that. That should be right, shouldn't it? And that's going to be a little skinny one here. So careful on that adhesive. Come on, we just went, whoops, a little bit. There we go, and we'll stick that on the inside. Just adds a little bit. I didn't do this when I did this event with my team. Now, if they're watching this, they're gonna have to go back to those cards and find their scrap. Okay, so there's the first one. And then we'll take our second one here. And for this one, we're going to go right there. And I think before we stick that down, just to add a little bit more to it, we can take some linen thread. And I like to give myself more than plenty, figure out how much you need, and then double it, like so. And then we can flip that over. My bows, I always tie them upside down. It's a trick someone taught me a million years ago, it feels like. That if I tie them upside down, I tend to get the little tail pieces coming down better. So then when I flip it the right way and I start playing with these to get them the size I want, I kind of spread out the little loopies. Let's see here, then we can trim those off like so. Okay, so now let's put our adhesive on this piece. And we're gonna stick that right over there like so. Now it is kind of, there's that bump in here from where that linen thread goes, so you want to make sure you get that sealed down there really nice. And then with our congratulations on this one, we're going to go ahead and use some dimensionals, and we can just pop that on right there, and there we go. Now you know what, I bet you this piece, yeah, see, it's not long enough, so we're not going to use that one. We'll just go ahead and stick this on the inside. There we go. And there are our two cards. So easy peasy. We let the designer series paper do the work on those. Now I did do a couple other sets as I was playing. You can see here where I put it on white, and instead of cutting it, I just used my circle punch. And then I use this print as well, and I added a little bit more linen thread on that. So I'll have pictures of all of these, as well as those cutting dimensions and diagram for how to cut your 6x6 into 2 pieces to make 2 cards. I hope you enjoyed this video. More importantly, I hope you grab some Designer Series paper, you cut it up, you make a couple of cards, and then you pop them in the mail to bless somebody. So if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to us. We're here to help you with all your stamping and card making needs and answer your questions and make sure that you're successful at the fun hobby of card making. We'll be stamping again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.